Hello's welcomes back everyone, AnthWolf here with even more Star Wars The Old Republic, playing as our Jedi Sage Aya Kara. Where we last left off, we were just doing the introduction video, talking about what this series was going to be all about, and of course we watched the opening sprawl and the introduction cutscene when Aya Kara here as a Padawan learner has met her new master, Master Yuon, and we've been asked to go into an area here on Tython known as the Gnarls and retrieve some ancient Jedi holocrons that may be in danger of going missing or being damaged by a group of Typhonian natives, the Flesh Raiders. Obviously we will be exploring most of Tython here, this is the entire map, and I thought I would spend a little bit, maybe 15 minutes or so, excuse me, just got in from work, talking about the UI here, the interface that I will be commonly using, and various windows that I will be popping up and interacting with, explaining what I'm going to be doing before we actually do it. Just the general things. Things like crew skills, companions and their influence, item modification. We'll talk more about that when it's more appropriate, but just to explain the UI for the most part. So, obviously we are playing as a Jedi Sage. Obviously we have our name, our class level. Of course at the moment the level cap is level 70, and our character portrait, and a list of our various status buffs. We have Sprint and Force Might. Is it? No, Force Valor, I think. One of the two. Valor, there you go, is the one that the Jedi Sage normally would start with. This increases the target's mastery by 5% and increases their internal and elemental damage reduction by 10% for an hour. If you're in a party, then everyone in your party gets this buff. Because I have completed some of the other playable classes storyline to the end of Act 2, I think it is, or Chapter 2, I've also gained their buffs, such as Force Might, which increases our various damages and healing by 5%, increases our endurance by 5%, which is our health, and of course our critical strike chance by 5% as well. So when we just activate Force Valor here, we get all 4 buffs, and we can pass them on to our teammates as well, if they don't have them already. We're on the planet Tython at the moment. There are 85 people currently on this instance. You can switch to another instance if the world is populated enough. Of course we have the galaxy map here. It normally splits down to immediate areas like the Master's Retreat, and then you have the entire world map itself, and there's little indicators of where you may need to visit. Sometimes quest NPCs will pop up here, and you can obviously micromanage what you might be looking for. So there are a few vendors down in the Gnarls that we may want to know about. Let's see, what else? As a Jedi Sage, the red bar here is our overall health. The yellow bar is the resource that a Jedi Sage will use to utilize various skills. Now this can be different for different classes. For the Jedi Sage it is a resource known as Force. Back in the day, when you were just a Jedi Consular, before you chose your advanced class, you would only have a Force pool of 100. I think it was 100. And when you became a Jedi Shadow, I don't think your Force increased. But when you chose to become a Jedi Sage, you would get the 500 Force pool. And then there was a additional skill buff you could choose to get a maximum of 600. From what I recall. The green bar underneath here is our experience bar. As I mentioned, and as it indicates there, if you can read a very small print, there are 44 hours left of bonus experience. We're currently earning 250% experience compared to normal. And underneath that is of course our legacy experience, All my characters on this server, the Red Eclipse, are part of the Omegon Legacy, which is currently level 42. And Legacy allows you to unlock account-wide bonuses for your various characters. For example, we have a Legacy ability called Rocket Boost, which for 12 seconds increases our movement speed by 110%. It can't be used while in combat, but this can be used in buildings, which actually is pretty good, because there will be mounts, like speeders, you can use in the game, but they will automatically dismount you after a couple of seconds while you're inside a building. We start off with a basic strike with our training saber. It deals a small amount of weapon damage. And we have our first force ability called Project. Throws debris at a target, dealing so much kinetic damage. Standard and weak targets are additionally stunned for half a second. And it has a 6-second cooldown. It costs 40 force to cast, and it has a range of 30 meters. Again, that's different. Back in the day, the Jedi Consular between level 1 and 10, before you chose your advanced class, I think it only had a range of 10 meters, but again, advanced class at the beginning of the game, things have definitely changed. But I'm not sure if it's for the better or not. And the game progression is a lot faster, we've noticed. What else do we have? We have the meditation channel ability. When we're out of combat, to regenerate our health and force a lot faster, we can activate this skill. Faster regeneration, always useful. And that's the basic one for the Jedi Consular. Every class has their own version, and you can pick up various toys which will give you the same effect. In fact, I can probably show you one. Let's have a look. Toys. Show collected. Do I have one unlocked? Let's see. I do. Awesome. I have a pet Sarlacc. So let's pop that here. There we go. Same thing, but rather than meditate, we're slowly being digested by a Sarlacc while we regenerate our health and force. There are various different ones. I like the Sarlacc one. But apart from that, we will be picking up more skills. Obviously, this is how I like my keypad laid out. Later on, when we have a companion, they will have a variety of skills that we can select from. They tend to use their skills automatically. The AI isn't too bad, I suppose. It's workable. Anyhows, obviously we have a mini-map here, which we can zoom in and out of if we so wish. We'll probably be using that for the most time. We are playing in a PvE instance, where we're just playing against the natural enemies here on the various worlds. Sometimes that will be switched to PvP, which is player versus player, but it's only on certain worlds and certain areas of those worlds, unless we get involved in war zones, which are the player versus player maps, which I've never shown off before, but something I used to do a long time ago, and had a great amount of fun doing so. Anyhows, other screens to open up. This is the character screen. Aya here, her armor is made up of 7 individual pieces, including the wrists on this side. We have our main hand, which has currently got the training saber, and a focus, which can give you a variety of boosting effects, increasing your overall stats on top of what you're wearing for your armor. Additionally, you can wear 1 earpiece, 2 implants, and 2 relics. The relics tend to give you a bonus to various skills, or just by having them equipped, And implants and earpieces also will boost your stats in some way. Over here, of course, we have our various attributes. For a Jedi Sage, the primary stats we're going to be looking at is, of course, Mastery, which is how much damage you deal, and obviously the healing you give, or you deal as well. Endurance, which is our overall health and health regeneration. Possibly Power and Critical. Critical Power just basically gives you an overall boost to your damage, like with Mastery. Critical used to be separated into two stats. You had Critical and Critical Rating, but now they've been combined into one. You can see it here. The chance of us dealing a critical damage, and then the bonus damage that that critical hit will actually deal. So if we're playing as a DPS character, Power and Critical are definitely going to be important. Another one, of course, will be Alacrity. Some abilities are channeled. The faster we channel those skills, the faster, the more damage we'll deal, or the more health ourselves or the person we're targeting will recover. The final stat, which is really important, is Presence. It increases the effectiveness of your companion. Presence, we'll talk more about that when we actually have a companion, but suffice to say, the more presence you have, the more health your companion has, the more damage they deal, the more healing they will give you if they're focused on healing. The final thing really on this screen of interest is the alignment bar here. Certain choices you'll have seen when we were speaking to, I think it's Master Seo and Master Yuon, that we had like the dialogue wheel. Some choices when we mouse over them will be leaning towards the light side or the dark side. As we make those choices, we might start leaning in one direction or the other. Some weapons, some armor, some relics require you to have a certain tier of one alignment or the other. I will probably be leaning more towards the light side. We are a Jedi, even though we could be a dark Jedi if we so wish. But how we're going to roleplay this character, and how I was talking about it at the beginning of, well, as we were going through the last video, we're not going to be doing anything really for personal gain or glory. We are going to be trying to aid those lesser or weaker than us. Lesser sounds bad. Those weaker than us. We're going to be charitable, if we can. So yeah, obviously things to bear in mind here. Obviously we have our inventory screen. See our credits, which is the main currency here in Star Wars The Old Republic. There are command tokens as well, which you can use to find the word. There are certain vendors which will sell you things for a certain amount of command tokens rather than credits. They tend to be, I imagine, endgame gear, and I haven't even got to that point with any of my other main characters as to what I could purchase with those tokens. So I guess we'll find out together. I have my set of customizable armor, including a lightsaber and color crystal, but we'll talk about those when I feel it's appropriate to put them on. And apart from that, we'll move this over here. Because I was a subscriber when the Rise of the Hutt Cartel expansion was released, I picked up a Hutt Hollow statue. When we level up, okay, level 68 Jedi Sage, interesting, over here. When we level up, there are various class trainers on each world you visit, and they will teach you any new skills that are available. Now, rather than have to go to them each time we level up, you can have or interact with one of these hollow statues, and it is exactly the same job. In fact, at level 1 we can learn the ability Disturbance, which I guess we'll do. And I'll move it over here. Fires a blast of telekinetic energy at the target, dealing a small amount of kinetic damage. Okay. So let's desummon that. We have some experience boosters which we'll probably make use of, but again, to be honest, we have 250% bonus experience right now for a few more days. We can have the experience booster items, and I was talking about legacy before. If I open up my legacy window here, which is Y, because I have a level 42 legacy and because I've spent some credits, I've unlocked bonus experience. I gain 30% extra experience from killing enemies in dungeons or flashpoints, from doing space missions, which we might actually do, from completing your main class storyline missions, and just from randomly exploring and unlocking more of the map. So all in all, we're going to be leveling up pretty damn quickly. Now, is there anything else we should really cover? Oh! Yes. Because we're a Jedi Sage, we can choose one of 3 discipline trees. Obviously, we could focus more on being a healer, also known as a seer. We can focus on telekinetics, or we can focus on balance. Each one, you get like a series of general skills everyone will learn, but each of these will give you different abilities dependent on that tree, and they will also give you buffs to different skills. I don't know. Being a seer is all well and good for when we're doing flashpoints, but not for now. We want to be dealing damage. So it's between telekinetics and balance. At one with the environment, the telekinetic sage manipulates the essence of the surrounding elements with the power of the Force to mount powerful distance attacks. Waves of turbulence and torrential gusts of telekinetic energy make for a potent combination. So that's a powerful AoE skill. 6-second cooldown. Takes 2.5 seconds to activate. With higher alacrity, that activation time will be decreased. And there's probably going to be a buff. To, if you use a certain skill, to make that activate instantly. Turbulence. That automatically can critically hit if you use Weakened Mind on an opponent first. Using this skill reduces the activation time of your Mind Crush ability. And Telekinetic Burst, which replaces Disturbance. Okay, and Balance. There is serenity in balance, and no one knows this better than the balance sage. Able to assist multiple targets at once while at the same time absorbing their vitality, the balance sage is a formidable presence in long-range engagements. Oh, so you can heal yourself with this AoE attack. It's an instant, but it has a 15-second cooldown. You can freeze a target in place. I think we'll go with telekinetics for now, but we might try both trees out later on. So we will commit ourselves. We can abandon the discipline path if we so wish. So at level 10 we'll unlock Telekinetic Wave, and then later on we can unlock some more passive skills, and we'll unlock utility skill points, which unlock little boosters to various skills we have or will have in our possession. Okay, good. What else is there? Let's see. We have the mission log. We can have 25 missions at once. They give us more in-depth information on what we should be doing and why we should be doing it. And obviously tells you your rewards. We'll get some credits, some experience, and we'll get a new training saber. As you can see, if I just mouse over it, green for stat changes typically means good, red typically means bad. So having this training saber is an all-round better thing. Okay, good to know. This is a tracked mission. If I open it up here, while it's tracked, it will indicate where those missions are, like where the objectives are. Handy. What else do we need? We've looked at the world map. You know, that might be it. We had a brief look at collections. Collections has most items that you can buy from the GTN, the auction house, or buy with real money, which translates into cartel coins. I have various sets of armor pre-collected that I could give my character. Let's say I have some of it already, but I've already distributed my customizable armor. So, the only thing really left to do is to activate an experience booster. I have various titles, which is kind of play titles you can give your character. So, I could be Aya Kara, the founder, or illustrious. And most of these I've just received because I was a subscriber during an expansion. Like Scourge of the Huts was probably from Rise of the Hutt Cartel. And you notice we are actually getting a little bit of experience just for unlocking those titles, which is why I decided to keep them for this video. So we are level 2 now. Let's see. We have telekinetic throw as a new skill. We won't learn it right now because I will show it off. I probably shouldn't have learned disturbance either. Oh well. I'll show off telekinetic throw at the beginning of the next video in case anyone has skipped this one. Understandably so. But when we come back, we'll actually head over to the Gnolls and try and recover these ancient Jedi holograms. But if you've stuck through this, thank you very much. You're braver than I am, I guess. Well, I've just been standing here talking to a screen. And when we come back, we'll actually get into some actual gameplay. But this has been AnthWolf playing Star Wars The Old Republic, and I'll see you for even more next time. Until then, though, bye-bye now.